Hello, all, and welcome to another episode of Shooting the Shit Uncensored. My name is Piers Austin. I am your host, and I'm having a bit of a bad hair day this morning. Don't mind me. But, guys, before we get into the show, I just wanted to say we are coming to you live in Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you aren't subscribing to us on YouTube, click that button and hit subscribe. Check us out. We've got some pretty good videos, interviews, game shows, and a lot of good stuff that's coming out there. So make sure you check it out. But I also just want to make special mention and a special thank you to Wrestling Maniacs, Generational Wrestling Society, and WCW Nation for allowing us to stream my interviews in their groups also, just so making my audience that much bigger. Also, I'd like to make a special thank you to my good buddy Michael Mados for making these incredible graphics for the show. He's an admin of Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance, and he's a fantastic guy, and he does a lot for us. So thank you, buddy. Also, just make a quick mention to our sponsors, Signal Studios, Mayan Belts, A-Rock Designs, and Immortal Restoning. Stick around to the end of the show, and I'll give you guys a bit of a debrief of what those guys do, but they are absolutely amazing. But now, my guest for this evening today, whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world, he is a former NWA tag team champion. He is one half of the tag team known as the Wildcards, and he is a member of the stable Strictly Business. He wrestles in the NWA, and he is my guest for this evening. He is Mr. Royce Isaacs. Royce, welcome to the show, sir. How are you?
What up, man? How you doing, Piers?
I'm not bad, man. I'm not bad. I'm pretty excited to be sitting here having a conversation with you today, sir. But how are you keeping in this this lockdown time of world that we're living in?
I'm doing all right. You know, doing the home workout thing today. I did back day, and then I hit like an hour of really tough like DDP yoga. So like, I think I'm actually gonna reward myself, not with like a full cheat meal, but I'm gonna have a little more carbs than I usually do tonight with dinner, because I'm like still kind of after sweating, and like I showered and everything after. Like it killed me, but like it's also, I'm in the valley and it's like 100 degrees right now, so even with the AC on, it's a little bit hot in here. But other than that, I'm doing great, man. Binge watching stuff. You know, it's like things suck for everyone, so it's like, you know, my situation isn't any worse than the next person. So it's tough times for all of us, but like, you know, we're all hurting, and I'm just glad it seems like, you know, things are getting better. So hopefully they keep going.
Yeah, things are getting better here in Australia as well. Our numbers keep dropping and dropping and dropping, so they're starting to open things back up a little bit. But you know, everyone's feeling it here too, man. So it's funny you say the after sweats after a workout. That's when you know you've had a good workout, though. When you're sweating after you've had a shower and you're just like chilling on the couch or something. That's when you know you've had a good workout, man.
Absolutely. So, yeah, no, I'm obviously working out is a big part of my whole thing. I've been doing a decent amount of 2-a-days lately, and the home gym setup that I have is not great, but it's all right. It's like enough to hit everything. So I've been really trying to stay in shape and hit the ground running whenever things are back to normal.
What sort of workouts do you do at home? Are you like weight workouts or like heavy lifting, or is it just mainly like circuit stuff at the moment?
I've always been more of a I'll do like a hybrid generally without it is just a normal in a gym. I would do a hybrid power lifter, bodybuilder. So I'd have a little bit of like, you know, like functional big muscle group working movements, like, you know, squats and presses and whatever. But I also, obviously, wrestling's very aesthetic, so it matters that I do some of the bodybuilding movements and isolate a little bit. Now at home, I've obviously had to go to higher repetitions for a lot of my weights, because my dumbbells only go to 52.5. They're adjustable, but like for, you know, bigger muscle groups, it's not going to really cut it, you know. So I've been doing a lot of reps. Obviously, there's a lot of if you get creative. Like yesterday, I was hitting chest, and like in addition to presses, it was like, okay, I'll do push-ups, but I'll do them with my feet on the bench, so it's like an incline press, and then I'll do. I have like a full set of bands, so I'll do some presses with the bands. I'll do push-ups, but I'll do I did some like dive bomber push-ups where you have your butt in the air at the start and then you swing low. I did reverse grip push-ups. It's like you can trick it out and still hit the full muscle, even in a quarantine with limited. As long as you have something to hit every part of the body, which I have
Yeah.
dumbbells, I have bands, and I have a pull-up bar. So it's like I can hit any part of my body. Other than that, man, a little bit of cardio here and there. I've been running the stairs at my apartment complex like a freaking weirdo. Like I'm sure all of my neighbors are like, "Who's that weird
I,
big dude running around?" But
I've been doing the same because I don't have any weights. I'm actually picking some kettlebells up this afternoon off my brother-in-law, but I've been doing just a lot of running and sprints and stuff like that. Just going down to Oval, so they rarely see some dude in the middle of the night running sprints. But
got to get it in.
Man, exactly, man. Otherwise, you go crazy. But I just want to bring up a comment from one of our live viewers, Kevin Rodriguez, a gentleman that you've spoken to before, Royce. He says, I had the absolute honor of hosting Royce on my show, and we had a great time. Royce, you're a class act. Thank you so much. Royce is a cornerstone of the NWA. Congrats, you deserve it. So
thank you, Kevin. Appreciate that. And you're
yeah.
living me a high standard to live up to. Now this has to be fun.
Yeah, did you enjoy doing Kevin's show? That was the water,
Yeah.
and that was a little while ago. Yeah, he's a good guy. You know, that's a good show. Not as good as this show, but still a good show.
Yeah, it's a close second.
No, Kevin's one of my very good friends, so I joke. But so looking into your background and listening to some past interviews that you've done, I just wanted to make mention you grew up in a how do you say this? A split religious family with Jewish and Catholic. And I heard you in a previous interview that you obviously felt very closely with your Jewish religion, and hopefully one day would like to wrestle in Israel.
Yeah.
Is that still on the cards for you?
No, definitely. I'd be really interested in that. Like I think one, obviously, because it's Israel and my heritage, but I mean, in general, I feel like traveling internationally, especially to wrestle, is one of the best perks of the job. I've done some international stuff already in Japan and Mexico, and that stuff was really that was some of the most rewarding stuff that I've done in my career. So something like any other country is great, but then especially I think Israel would be like a cherry on top because obviously I have a much better connection with something like that. But yeah, man, wrestling is a blessing. There's a lot of cool places you get to see and to go to, and just experiences you wouldn't have otherwise. Even if it's not necessarily in the ring, just like experiencing the culture and the cuisine and all that stuff. Like I geek out on that kind of stuff. And it's not stuff I think I would treat myself to. If I was just working, if I was working a 9-to-5 job, I would just work that 9-to-5 job every once in a while, sure, vacation or whatever. But I'm kind of type A, so I don't know if I would take the time to be like, I'm gonna spend all this money and time and travel the world. So wrestling's been able to afford me a little bit of that, and that's been really cool and one of the big perks that I don't know if I appreciate enough, or at least give notice to.
What was the first country that you got to travel to abroad to wrestle in?
Actually, Canada. I was pretty early on in my career, 6 months in or something maybe, and I got an opportunity in Winnipeg, Canada, which is basically the middle of Canada, kind of, and it's really cold. But it was this is too good of an opportunity to pass up, especially this early on in my career. It was definitely fun. I learned a lot from it, and that was interesting. I don't know. I'm glad that was my starter kind of international experience, because the next thing after that was DDT in Japan, and that was okay, in the deep end.
Yeah.
Now kind of thing.
Well, I mean, going to another country where you're essentially don't speak the language, it'd be very it'd be very challenging to say the least. But how long was the tour, your first tour in Japan?
My first tour was a week. Basically, they were doing a tournament, a round robin tournament. So I got there the day before, and then I wrestled every day, and then I flew out. Basically, I had the tournament, and then I went out that night with the rest of the boys, and we got messed up, had a good time. They have those little skewers, not skewers, sorry, the toothpicks. Yep. I don't know if it's skewers. They have the little toothpicks at we were at Like there's just this little spot where you could get like fish, and you'd boil it like on like an open plate kind of thing. You just order whatever you want, but you pay by each one, and then you kind of cook it yourself and you eat it.
Like a Korean barbecue thing, yeah?
Sort of, but like you pay per thing, and it's like more of a just like chill, like you're not gonna eat a lot of food there. You're just kind of like drink. It's more of like a drinking place that just happens to have these little appetizers that you can, like fish things that you can cook for yourself. Yeah. So we're chilling there, and some of the guys they take the little toothpicks and they jab them into their foreheads and they light them on fire.
Oh,
and I was like, oh, that looks brutal. And they're like, no, they're like, it's really easy. They're like, literally just put it right up against your head, go just really light. You'll hear a pop. It'll go right in. And I was like, that's stupid. I literally grab it and I go, that's not true. I go, you're full of shit. I was like, that's silly. I was like, watch. I was like, this isn't going to happen. And it just stuck. And I was like, no, it is. It didn't hurt at all. And I was like, all right, well, give me that lighter. So I lit it somewhere. I want to say maybe Guanchulo. He's a wrestler from Chile who was at DDT for a long time. I want to say on his phone somewhere, there's a photo of me with the toothpick on fire out of my forehead.
That's incredible. And anyone watching at home, please, we don't encourage you to go and do this.
Alcoholic beverages impair judgment. Obviously, that was a bad judgment. And just because I'm saying it was easy to do and didn't hurt, it's not saying you should do it. Don't do it. Look at this face. Does this look like a face that's made good decisions? No, don't do it. But I mean, if you do it, it's not that hard to do it. Anyways, before I get sued, next. So the first tour was a week, which was honestly kind of the perfect length to dip my toes in and experience Japan, because I was always into Japanese culture and into Japan even as a kid and whatever. Like that was something that I was always into. I watched samurai movies. I watched anime. I was into Japanese culture itself. So that was really nice. And then I got to go back a couple more times, which were longer tours where like I stayed for 2 months or I stayed for a month and whatnot.
So Angel Medina, who is an ECW original, who is a friend of mine, he's commented and he said in relation to the toothpick, I've done worse.
I guarantee he's done worse within like the first 3 minutes of a match. Like that's nothing comparatively. ECW legend like that. Yeah. No, it really wasn't anything. Like that's what I'm saying. Like it's like whatever. I don't profess to be a hardcore kind of guy, but you know, I do like I like snug wrestling and getting color and all that kind of stuff. You know, little blood ain't never hurt, but I ain't that hardcore, baby.
I think good stiff wrestling and a little bit of blood that's old school wrestling, man. You know what I mean? Like you look at like Ric Flair, the Dusty Rhodes, when those guys would have some of those matches and they would get color. It's not necessarily a hardcore match, but very hard hitting match.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think just like anything, the blood or the violence or whatever should be an artistic tool to get a reaction, make people understand what you're trying to say and feel. And I love it, man. Physical expression.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things where obviously, the bigger promotions want to try and steer a bit more clear away from that. But I think that, blood is definitely something that at times is needed in pro wrestling, especially
not every match, not all the time.
No.
Sprinkle it in, blah, blah, blah,
there's a time and place for it.
Yeah.
There's a time and place in wrestling for pretty much anything. So, how many things can we see? But one of the things I did want to say to you as well, I was watching NWA Power when Scott Steiner joined Strictly Business, and look, we're all marks because we all love wrestling, right? But you kind of look like you marked out just a little bit when you came out and joined. Was Scott Steiner one of the guys that you really looked up to when you were back in your younger days watching wrestling?
All right, I had my phone plugged into the wall, but I'll actually show you since we're live and on video. But this is my wall here. My bedroom wall. There's a picture of Scott Steiner signed and everything like that. Like that's my dude. That's who I looked up to. I had blonde hair for years, partially influenced by that. Whatever. Like it's one of those things. Like that's someone that I took a lot of influence from, and that was a really cool moment for me. And especially because like I got into wrestling watching it with my dad as a kid, and Scott Steiner was someone that we watched together, and that we were both like, oh yeah, like Scott Steiner's the man. To then like come full circle, and like he's working with me, and he's right there, and like there's the legend. Like that was a really awesome moment, man.
Yeah,
and
it'd be
like
a very surreal moment.
A very surreal moment. You know what I mean? So it's like sometimes we have those moments. Obviously, I showed it on my face a little bit and whatnot, but
I loved
Scott's
it.
I was loving it, obviously, man. Hey,
Dude, I loved it because you know what? I was sitting there going, you know what? That would be exactly me. I would be sitting there just going, holy fuck, it's Scott Steiner. Yeah, like I would be marking out. You know, like I would just be like shaking. So I loved it because it was like you could actually see that real moment of a thrill for you, man.
Childhood adulation, being like, yeah, no, absolutely, dude. I love moments like that, and you see that. Like, I mean, gosh, I want to say it wasn't that long ago. We saw Moxley corpsed when Damien was put on him.
Yeah.
On WWE programming and whatnot. Like it's like those are moments that you're like, this is like my childhood coming back. Like this is crazy.
Yeah. Like coming to fruition. I'm living my childhood right now.
Yeah, man.
But yes, how did you end up getting into NWA? How did that come to fruition for you guys?
So I had been working for Championship Wrestling from Hollywood for a little while. And so obviously Championship Wrestling from Hollywood and NWA had worked together a little bit. Like there had been some 10 pounds of gold filmed there, some heavyweight championship matches and the like. So I'd met Billy, I'd met Dave Lagana, I'd wrestled Nick. And I think that was one of the big turning points for me is when I got to actually wrestle Nick and kind of develop that respect of like when you wrestle each other and it's like, oh no, like this is someone that, we could trust in the ring because he's been in there with one of ours and whatnot. And I just stayed in touch. I was interested in the Crockett Cup because of I'd been doing a lot of tag wrestling, and it just so happened to work out. And so Crockett Cup 2019 was my first event with the NWA, and then it's just been since like a snowball gaining momentum.
Yeah, absolutely. And you were put into a tag team with Tom Latimer. How did that whole tag team come to fruition? Whose idea was it to put you guys together, and who was the real driving force behind the wild cards?
Oh, well, that's simple enough, really. It's like me. I mean, you can see like me and Tom kind of came together over time in terms of like when you look at our look, our move sets, our general vibe, and whatever. But it was more like we were just kind of like the two mercenaries that like the NWA was interested in, so it just made sense for us to kind of team up. If there's a tag event coming up, like, what are we going to wait till the next, big pay-per-view? And it's like we seemed to get along, and it seemed like it was going to be a fit. So we started, training together a little bit and bouncing ideas off each other's heads. And before you knew it, it was like, okay, like this thing has some legs to it. I thought the Crockett Cup 2019 was a really good test run for us. Getting all the way to the finals and getting a wrestling team like Bill and Enterprises obviously was a dream come true. And then getting to wrestle them again a few months later, like I've really liked the evolution of the wild cards. And as our looks progress, now we got matching gear, matching this, matching that. Like our moves come across better. We're getting that like tag team like where what each other is thinking before you're kind of saying it, kind of thing. We're getting that connection. So it's been really cool to kind of have. It's hard to kind of just like have a tag team happen, but it's been working over time. So
it's been really good watching how it develops, and you can actually see how you guys getting more and more comfortable working together in the ring. And obviously having the opportunity to work with the Rock and Roll Express, which is legends in the business, that must have been a massive boost for you guys as a career, and also a massive learning experience. But working with the Rock and Roll Express, what were some of the things that you personally walked away from that gaining and learning from?
I mean, honestly, it's been really cool because we've gotten such a long like program from it too. Like I feel like I didn't know how many matches we were going to get with them, and we've ended up having quite a feud with them. Me and Tom now, we've been teaming for a little over a year now, and it's like to get to team with people that have been teaming for they have whatever, like 60 something years of experience between the two of them, tagging together combined. It's like, that's almost like a crash course, in tag team wrestling and, how to make things count and what to do, what not to do, how to max, they're really well thought out with like everything that they do matters. And I've really enjoyed getting to work with like those are that's another legendary team that I was watching when I was younger, and that my dad knows and he's seen. So that's, I don't know, man. Like there's a reason why they're having such a good run so late, because they can still really, really do it, and they're great dudes.
Yeah, look, when I saw him on the NWA, I was like, and as being active, I was like, really? Like, but then as I was seeing their matches, I was like, no, they belong there. Like they're hanging. You know what I mean? Like they're having these matches, and for guys that are at the age that they are at, I think there's so much that they can really give back to, obviously, the NWA, and especially a lot of the younger talent, and obviously, like, the wild cards as well. There's so much that they can teach you guys and sort of, pass that knowledge down the tree. And it's good to see that they're still there. And, obviously, they had their record 9-time, title win over the wild cards. But how did that feel for you to be essentially be a part of NWA championship history?
That part wasn't so great. The part where we won them was cool, but not you don't want to be the pitcher that Barry Bonds crushes his 70th home run off of or whatever.
Oh, look, I understand that, but still, when you have the opportunity to, when you're going back and forth with the Rock and Roll Express and giving them that opportunity,
that part of itself was
them
cool.
to be history-making 9-time champs. So that's what I meant. So
that part of it was all right.
Otherwise, not so much.
Yeah, the losing of it, I'm not gonna. It was beautiful for us to make history. I would have rather they did not make history still, but that's
that's fair enough. I apologize. I didn't mean to upset you on that one. So
you're good, dude.
No, but yeah. So what was obviously now, like, you guys leading into being with Strictly Business, with Aldous and Camille, and also the storyline where you're becoming like the overprotective boyfriend. How do you? And that's a question that Kevin actually has, which I had asked there, was how do you find the balance working a single but also a tag team and stable storyline?
I honestly really like it. I that's one of the things that I've enjoyed about being with the NWA is that I've been able to do all of it, because I think that most places you don't really have opportunities like that. They can't shine a spotlight on you in that many different ways. And I think I've gotten an opportunity to do that now in numerous facets. And I think that's only helped me. Like, I feel like the stuff with me and Tom obviously has been awesome. But then, like, now reinforcing it with more stuff with the singles run and with May and whatnot, I've only gotten like a positive response from more exposure of me in a different way. And I've always, before this, I always did singles wrestling and I did tag wrestling. Like, I think there's an art to both of them, and I enjoy both of them a lot. So it's like, if I get to the point where I can just always be doing both, I'm all about it. Like, there's no, it's not like can you do this or can you do that? Like, I like doing both. I legitimately enjoy both arts quite a bit, and I like showing out like all of my character. That okay, cool, you can have a fast-paced tag match, and then boom, you can go have this vignette with May Valentine that's character driven and whatnot. So I'm like, I don't know. I think it's better, like put more on my plate and I'll be happier.
Yeah, absolutely. And you definitely seem to be getting a lot of exposure on the NWA, and it's good to see that they're also, while you are in a tag team, that you are giving opportunities to sort of display a different personality. And it's the same with Tom as well, obviously with coming out and being the angry sort of to the commentators about asking about Camille talking. But it's great to see that you guys can be such a solid tag team, but then also go down different paths and be such almost completely different characters altogether, where you wouldn't even think that you guys would be a tag team. And to me, that's something it's been really impressive to sit there and watch.
For sure.
But how have you found the working relationship with the NWA and Ring of Honor? Is there any potential guys there that you from Ring of Honor that you'd really like to work with?
I mean, that's been really cool to me. I've really enjoyed that part. I think any kind of anytime they can do like big companies teaming up like that, I think it's always beneficial for both companies. To me, the obvious thing that sticks out for me is, me and Tom having the rubber match against Villain Enterprises. I think this is the first one and the second one where for the titles, I would prefer that one of us gets the titles first and then have it. But I think that's definitely like something that we're 1-1 right now. So it'd be nice to finish that off, with the third match, especially now, because I feel like we could put it on an even bigger, platform than, more people could see it this time. And I think other than that, someone like, I've had good matches in the past with someone like, Bateman or Dak Draper, singles wise.
Yeah.
I don't see any of their roster. Like, they have some really, really talented guys that they've already brought over. And then, like someone like a Flip Gordon would be great. Ring of Honor, is one of the best companies in the world for a damn good reason. You know what I mean?
And they've done it consistently as well. For the longest time, and that's a pretty, not an easy feat for any wrestling promotion to be able to do. But obviously, now with NWA, having their, obviously take coronavirus out of it, but being their regular shows on YouTube, and obviously developing that. Do you see the NWA going into doing more episodic television, or extending power? Sorry.
No, yeah, I just think, well, obviously it's going to be a second until we're back to actually wrestling and whatnot. I know that we're doing some, coming up with some ideas to do some different kinds of content and still keep the fans enjoying stuff while we're all on lockdown and whatnot. So keep posted for that soon as well, obviously. But, I think once we can get back to, I don't know, normal or whatever the new normal is or whatever, where we can have events, obviously, and we can do wrestling. Yeah, we're going to go back to, we like the power format and the episodic format, and I think it seems to be working out. So it's just a matter of, obviously, the world being safe enough that we can actually do that. Because obviously, like, we're not going to be doing empty arena shows, or we would have already been doing that and whatnot. We canceled Crockett Cup and whatnot. So it's just a matter of, once things are safe to, we have talent that are from all over. We have a lot of talent out here on the West Coast, like me, obviously May, Valentine, Eli Drake, Zicky Dice. And it's like, we can't bring everyone all the way to Atlanta at this, right now and stuff like that. But I think there's like a soft open this Friday in LA, it's like stage 1. So like some things are starting to open back up, I think obviously big events are going to be the last thing that come back. So it might take a second for wrestling, but the NWA will be back, and we'll be doing, episodic power, like style show before you know it.
Yes, and you mentioned the empty arena shows. Is that something that you would have been open to doing if NWA was doing it, or are you of the mindset you just want to keep distant and keep away from that? Or if they said, "Hey, we're going to record some episodes of Power, but empty arena"?
I mean, they never approached me about it, so it was never even a thing that I had to consider. It was never a consideration of theirs, so it's not a consideration of mine. And so I don't know, man. It's not really fair for me to say if I was in someone else's position how I would feel about it or whatever. But I love and I miss wrestling, so like, I don't really have a strong feeling either way.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's that's one thing about watching some of the empty arena shows that the other promotions have had. It's been some moments have been hard to watch. It's that live crowd feel is definitely something, and no fault of the performers at all, but it's just the time that we live in, and companies are still trying to put content out. So God bless them for doing it, but like I said, it's you can definitely respect the NWA for the care for their talent and people to to obviously not go down that road. But
yeah. I mean, I think there's obviously sides to like there's relevant points to both sides, so I get it, and it's like there's no right or wrong. We're all just trying to do the best
sure.
that we can, and we're the NWA, so we're going to put out content the way we do, and we just hope fans respond and they like it, and everyone can stay safe. And,
Well, you know what? The NWA, in my opinion, is probably the best promotion out there at the moment. I was really getting into Power. I love the old school feel of it, but the matches just felt the matches were hard hitting. There was like, you could definitely see the passion, the drive, and the excitement in the performers from NWA Power, and even looking at some of the talent that's come from WWE, like the Molinas and stuff like that. I think, her, for example, she's doing some of her best work in NWA, and it's really sort of coming through and showing through what you guys are being able to do. But how do you find, like, obviously the creative process and storylines? Do you guys get much input into what you want to do with storylines, or is it pretty much like they come to you and say, right, Royce, this is what I want you to do tonight with May. This is what I want you to do tonight with blah, 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 and go out and do it? Or do you have certain control over that?
I mean, to a degree, we have control. Certain things are more like, we have to pull this off this way, so it's more strict things. Some things we have a little bit more input or artistic say in. It just depends on the situation and who's like whose idea and how it's pitched and whatever. But like, I think the NWA definitely it likes to stimulate. If you have creative ideas and you want to come up with stuff, go for it. Like, this is the environment to do that and make it your own. But there's just going to always be situations that have to play out a certain way. You know what I mean? Like, there's certain times where you're just not going to be able to, or
put your little salt on it. It's like, this is
the
situation.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, no, overall, it seems like most things with the NWA, you have more of the freedom and more of the artistic. Like, that's one thing I think Billy's always really harped on, is that we're the artists and they're giving us the paintbrushes and stuff.
Yeah, and I think obviously with his career in music spanning over 30 years, I think he's probably understood that before, where he's had those meetings with record labels and they're saying, no, we don't want you to play it like this. We want you to, you know what I mean? So that's, can see where he's coming from, that and that understanding of the artist's perspective to put their, art out there the way that they see fit, that it should be put out there. So, Billy seems like he's probably a very good fit for the pro wrestling world from where he comes from. So,
absolutely.
But, does Billy come up with a lot of the storylines, or is that mainly sort of other people underneath him that are doing that, or does he have an input into storylines?
No, absolutely. Yeah, no. A lot of the storylines are Billy's baby. Absolutely. He's got his hands in on everything. He's involved in all of it. He's not just like hands off doing this. This is his baby, and he's seeing storylines out to completion. And him and Lagana, are coming up with that.
Yeah, and they're definitely doing some good work, because like I said, I don't really think I've seen anything bad on NWA Power since I started watching it, and I'm excited to see when you guys come back and start really hitting the ground running, because it's man, you guys got a lot of talent there. So
thanks, brother.
Yeah, so in the NWA, who's someone that you'd really like to work with down the road?
Someone like a Ricky Starks or a Zicky Dice or an Aaron Stevens stands out to me. I mean, I can just keep going. Like, there's talent up and down the roster. It's pretty crazy how good of a mix it is of new, young, hungry talent and veterans there are. And I've already gotten to work with quite a few of them, but those were just the names that came to mind, off the top of the head, of people I haven't gotten a chance to yet.
Yeah, sure. And obviously internationally, who are some of the guys, if you could fantasy book yourself into any match, who would be, past or present, the guy that you'd want to get in the ring with? And I know that's probably a loaded question.
Yeah, no, super loaded, but whatever, let's get into it.
Sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, for me and Tom, someone like the OG Club, I think, would be a lot of fun. Or obviously the Revival would be the hot ticket item as well.
Yeah.
I would love to wrestle Katsuyori Shibata for fantasy booking, but obviously his head would have to get right. A lot of other things would have to happen for that to happen.
Sure.
Yeah, no, there you go. You got 3 of them.
There you go. And obviously, growing up, was wrestling always a big part of your life?
Yeah, no, like I said, me and my dad bonded over wrestling, and that was like one of our first kind of like things that we always did together and watched. So, yeah, man, no, since I was a real young kid, I was into wrestling.
Yeah. Did you have any particular superstar that really sort of grabbed your attention and drew you into the business, or was it just the whole show in itself which you saw which was just like this massive spectacle?
I was into Stone Cold and The Rock, but like that was, I was born in '89, so it was like the Attitude Era timing was perfect.
Yeah, no,
Because my parents didn't get it, man.
I think Stone Cold Steve Austin was really he appealed to a lot of people, teenagers especially. I think around that time in the '90s with the angst and stuff like that. So I was a big Stone Cold fan, and with my surname being Austin, I was going to school going, yeah, my uncle Steve kicked some ass last night.
Yeah, dude, I bet you rocked the hell out of some Austin 316 shirts, huh?
Oh, bro, you wouldn't believe it. So
I would believe it. I would believe it.
Yeah. So I was a big time Stone Cold Mark. So back in the day, but yeah. So we definitely had a lot of fun with that. So who for you and Tom Latimer, you're looking at the tag team division, who do you see yourselves going into having some long-term feuds with that are currently in the tag teams that are currently in the NWA?
I mean, the most obvious would be the tag champs, Eli Drake and Tim Storm. We won our belts back. They won them in a 3-way, so it's like we didn't even get to face them 1-on-1, mano a mano. So, or 2-2. I think I'd really like to run that back and get a chance to wrestle them in a straight up tag match. Other than that, so like I know we already wrestled them, but Kingston and Homicide, I think we had a really good kind of like chemistry back and forth. So I don't know, I would definitely like to do that one as well. Again, Kingston and Homicide.
Yeah. How did you find the first time you wrestled those guys with Kingston and Homicide?
I really enjoy. I mean, those are two like big time pros. They, I mean, man, yeah, they really move well in the ring. I have a lot of respect for those guys. Like those are guys that I enjoyed personally when I was on the come up in wrestling. Yeah, no, I would do that anytime. The only thing I would say is I would like to have a little more time. I feel like we were maybe a little bit rushed. Things didn't come out quite as good. Like like as a perfectionist, you always hold yourself to a higher standard. But yeah, I mean, it was awesome to wrestle them for sure.
Yeah, no, and they've both of them have been around for such a long time. So Homicide just looks like the kind of guy that I would like you'd be scared shitless of. Like he looks like he would legit kill you if you pissed him off.
Because he would. Because it's not. There's no looks like he would. He just would.
Yeah, no, he looks like a bad mother. That's what I'm saying. Like looking at him, he looks like a bad motherfucker that would kill you. So
because it's true.
Yeah. Well, thanks for confirming for us. So, look, as we're just leading into the 40-minute mark, we just have to be careful and want to be respectful of Royce's time. So, we are going to lead into the Australian slang game. Royce, as I mentioned to you earlier when we were backstage, that the Australian slang game is how it works is I'm going to give you an Australian slang word and I'll use it in a sentence. So you've got to tell me what that slang word actually means. Okay. So We'll go through a few and we'll get started. Come past my house in the Arvo.
Is it Arvo? Is the
Arvo? Yeah. Arvo. Come past my place in the Arvo.
RV?
Afternoon.
Like motor vehicle? Oh, in the afternoon.
Afternoon, yeah. You want to have a barbie tonight?
Like barbecue grill out kind of thing?
Yeah. I'll tell you what, Royce. My dad is a bloody bogan.
Your dad's a dickhead.
No, a bogan is someone who's kind of like a redneck, uncultured, like a real Aussie ocker. So someone's like, "Hey, go on, mate." Yeah, that's like a bogan. All right,
Got it.
so
Okay, cool.
yeah, okay. I just need to go up the shop to the bottle-o.
Repeat that one.
I just need to go up the shop to the bottle-o.
Is that where you get like liquor or something like that?
Yeah, that's right, man. Liquor store. Have you been to Australia? You know some of
Nah,
these,
no. I'm just guessing from context.
Oh, fuck. I'm chockers.
High? Drunk?
Full. Like I've eaten like
Oh, full.
full, yeah.
Oh, that was I'm full, not I'm fucked up. Okay, got it.
No. Hey, Royce, grab the esky out of the car, mate. What's an esky?
Oh shit. Did I forget the esky? It's dude, I have so many eskies. What would I keep in my car that's an esky?
You're going to, like, say for example, you're going to someone's house for a party, right? And I say, hey mate, grab the esky out of the car.
Hold on, no, I'm gonna guess. Grab the esky out of the car. Is that also alcohol? Is it beer? I don't know.
An esky is like a cooler, so like what you put.
Oh, like Eskimo. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. I had a root with that chick last night.
Sexual relations.
That's correct. A root. I know in America, like rooting for something is like cheering for something. So when us in Australia, when we first heard like people saying, "Yeah, we're rooting for them," we're like, Jesus.
Where are you now?
Fuck, man, you really like football, brother.
Really, really into the Kansas City Chiefs, huh?
Yeah. Hey, can you pick us up a slab?
Like a piece of meat or
A carton of beer.
kind of beer? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Tar for that.
Tar for that?
Tar.
Thank you.
That's correct. All right. Here we go. Here's another one. This is the last one we'll go. Fucking hell, mate. My missus has been a sook.
A bitch?
No. So, like, a sook is like someone who's being like sulking, whining, like. Sort of thing, so. But yeah, look, that's the Aussie slang game, man. Thanks for playing.
Sick,
but Royce, where can everyone find you, man?
At Royce Isaacs on Facebook, at Royce Isaacs on Twitter, at Royce Isaacs on Instagram. And give me a follow. Show me some love on YouTube if you want to watch a match or whatever. And most of all, thank you for tuning in and enjoying this this entertainment, man.
Thank you very much, Royce. Thank you for being my guest. And I just want to make a special thanks to our sponsors for this evening's show, which are special thanks to Signal Studios, a recording studio in Sydney. If you need any music made for you, you want to write some songs while you're in quarantine, you're a professional wrestler, you want some new entrance theme, hit up Signal Studios. My boy Rafi can hook you up. Also, Mayan Belts, they make the best championship belts in the world. If you want a custom championship belt, you want a replica championship belt of your favorite belt, hit up Eddie and Ira Williams on Facebook, and they will look after you, and they will look after you with the best belt you will ever see. Next is A-Rock Designs, a company run by my good friend Ashley Rodriguez. She makes custom cups, hoodies, tumblers, t-shirts, keychains, you name it, she makes it. And she has a wrestling theme to it as well. But she also can do other wrestling stuff as well. You want it, she can make it. So contact Ashley Rodriguez and she'll have a chat to you about that. And last but not least is Immortal Restoning. So a company run by a good friend of mine, Jeff Parthay. He restones and refurbishes old championship belts. So if you've got an old title with stones falling out of it, contact Jeff and he'll be able to look after you for a reasonable price and a great service. But guys, thank you very much for tuning in. Please make sure you click subscribe to our YouTube channel. Royce, again, thank you so much for coming on, man, and we much appreciate having you on.
Yeah, thanks so much, Piers. It was a fun one, brother.
Thank you very much, man. We'll catch you soon.